So for those of you who recently didn't see, I actually went to go and see the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and I had a lot of different opinions on it. Look, I applauded the fact that they tried to change up some things. Again, look, it wasn't necessarily what I was hoping it to be. I kind of thought they would maybe do a similar situation to Jake Gyllenhaal's The Guilty, where maybe the movie somewhat sticks in being in the same place, of course, that being maybe the security room. The movie pretty much was set in the security room like 5% of the movie, and 90% of that 5% was Josh Hutcherson, like, knocked the fuck out on sleeping pills. So, look, it was a very different movie. I thought it was pretty good for the most part on what we got, and this is coming from a guy who has been playing Five Nights at Freddy's pretty much since 2014. Like, I'd say I was a pro. I definitely wasn't. Every time I saw Freddy, I fucking like shit myself, ran out of the room and just destroyed the toilet. So I not only shit here, I shat over there as well. It was a problem, but there's a lot of really interesting things going on. One thing that I went out of the cinema thinking is, are we going to be getting a sequel to this movie, right? I know the movie is extremely successful, but critically, it wasn't really that liked. Again, fan reception has been pretty good for the most part, but then you got those really loyal fans who didn't like the turn of how the movie wasn't really naturally like the games. It was kind of its own standalone thing. But in saying that, I did say to a friend that with how successful the movie's been in the box office, you would kind of be dumb not to think that this movie is at least not going to only get a sequel, but probably isn't, probably is going to get pumped like 80 sequels, just like every horror movie is now in 2023. Like, even small budget movies, like that movie Fall, where they climb like this big tower thing, dildo looking ass thing, and they get stuck up there. Somehow that's getting a trilogy. Like, is the stupid slut from the first movie dumb enough to climb another one of those dildo looking like buildings in a different country or something? I don't know how, but look, we're definitely getting a Five Nights at Freddy's 2, not only just because I think so, but also because it's actually been confirmed. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about with this, is Matthew Lillard actually one of the actors, aka Scooby-Doo. Why did I fucking say Scooby-Doo? He wasn't Scooby-Doo, he was Scooby-Doo's drunk stoner ass friend who talked to a dog. That's who Matthew Lillard is. He's Shaggy. Again, he played a pretty big part in this movie. Spoiler alert, of course, but it was revealed he was the main villain in the end. I believe called I think he was from the third Five Nights at Freddy's game. Look, my Five Nights at Freddy's lore is dating back from 2015 here. I think his name was Springtrap or something like that. A lot of people call him the Golden Bunny, or I don't even know. He just looked like he looked like Freddy with two dildos on the top of his head. Is pretty much what he looked like. But again, he was a pretty important character in this movie, and this actor actually went on a podcast or an interview, I believe about a year ago, and actually said some really interesting things. And one of the big things he said was he actually signed a 3-movie deal and would be, again, coming back if this first one was successful.
But I just got cast in a movie called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Which congratulations.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's a 3-picture deal with Universal and Blumhouse.
Which, obviously, it is. I mean, it's made like $150 million within the first week. It's probably going to get up to nearly $400 million at this rate. And I don't even think the creators thought it was going to be successful, because they literally put it on a streaming service on like the first day in the United States. I think it's got some funky ass name to it, like some porno name, like Peacock or something. I don't know, but we don't have that in Australia. Couldn't even tell you what that is. But look, not only did Matthew Lillard confirm that he has a 3-movie deal and that he would be coming back for a sequel, but the actual creator of the game series himself, and a guy who played a big part in this movie getting made, Scott Cawthon, did also reveal in an interview that if this movie was successful, he would love to do a trilogy based on the second and third games.
Ideally, if the first movie does really well, I think it would work great as a trilogy.
Extremely interesting. You got like the main villain and the main, like the game creator and the executive producers saying that they want to do a sequel. Obviously, a sequel is happening. Like, you can just, it's 100% confirmed pretty much, especially with this movie being so successful as it is. The weird things that I'm just thinking is, people like to say that this Five Nights at Freddy's movie was mainly based off the first one, which it was, but we gotta realize, like, the villain of this movie, I believe, is from the third game. The story of the kids, again, having their souls trapped in the animatronics, yes, is hinted in the first game, but is more elaborated in the lore of much later games, as well as so many other things that really take an inspiration off the second and third game. The Balloon Man, or whatever he ends up being called, was hinted, obviously, in this movie, and showed up in an end credit scene, which does suggest that, I think, because he was introduced in the second game, I believe, I think that was just hinting that, yes, the second movie is going to pay much more attention on, hopefully, the second game than this first movie did on the first game. This first movie really incorporated so much things from the other games. I hope this second movie is really about the second game, because there is so much lore in the second game. It's really the game that exploded Five Nights at Freddy's as well, and just gave it an actual lore. So again, not only are we getting a sequel, it looks like we're getting a third one, and don't be surprised if they do well. Keep in mind, there's still a fourth game. I think there's like 18 other spin-off games. I said to a mate in the toilet while I was holding my cock next to him in the urinal, I did say to him over the thing, I looked at his balls, I looked at his dick, and then I looked him in the eyes and I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they made about 5 movies for this. And he did the same thing. He looked at me, looked at my balls, looked at my dick, looked up at me and said, look, Jordan, you're probably fucking right. And that's how the conversations usually go with my friends. So yeah, don't be surprised if not only are we getting a trilogy to this, but considering the budget for this was about 20 million, and they're probably going to make nearly about 400 million from this movie, don't be surprised if the next movie's budget is like 40 million and they somehow make like 600 million. It's going to keep going. Again, the franchise, I didn't realize, is just so goddamn popular, man. So it's going to be really interesting. I would very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Are you guys excited for a sequel to this Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Definitely let me know. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my sports channel and my IRL/film channels, which will all be linked in the description down below. But as I was saying, oh geez, having like a bloody heart attack, mainly from obesity. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.